Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be tackling something I think we've all wrestled with at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
You know that inner critic that whispers,
Ugh.
you're not quite enough.
Yeah.
Well, you're in good company, and the fact that you're here means you're ready to fight back.
Absolutely.
Smart move.
Mm-hmm.
So to help us do just that,
Mm-hmm.
we're diving into From Self-Doubt to Self-Belief by MAB.
Okay.
And this isn't about slapping on a fake smile and chanting affirmations.
Right.
This book digs deep into where self-doubt comes from and gives us
Yeah.
actual tools to dismantle it.
Love that.
We're talking actionable, confidence-boosting nuggets delivered straight to you.
Let's do it.
The book jumps right in, talking about how self-doubt often takes root
Okay.
way back in childhood,
Interesting.
like negative feedback comparisons to siblings, all those little things that can leave a mark.
Right.
I remember when I was a kid.
Hold on. Before you jump into a childhood tale,
Yeah.
let's unpack why understanding this origin is so important.
Right.
When we realize self-doubt often stems from external sources,
Okay.
we can start to challenge its validity. It's not some inherent flaw.
Right.
It's a learned response.
That is so powerful.
It is.
It's like suddenly realizing you have more control than you thought.
Yeah.
I mean, even just knowing that makes me feel a little lighter.
Exactly. And the book dives into this further with a really relatable example.
Okay.
Imagine a child who gets criticized for their drawing, maybe compared to another kid who's better at art.
Mm-hmm.
Those experiences can stick with us, shaping how we view our abilities even as adults.
Wow, yeah. It's like those early messages become these deeply ingrained beliefs, even if they're not true.
Right.
And it's not just childhood, right?
Yeah.
The book also talks about how societal pressures, especially the ever-present
Yes.
social media comparison game, just piles on.
This is where social comparison theory comes into play.
Okay.
We're naturally wired to compare ourselves to others.
Right.
But it can become problematic,
Yeah.
particularly in the age of perfectly curated online lives. Research actually shows
Interesting.
that upward comparisons,
Yeah.
comparing ourselves to those we perceive as better off, are far more detrimental to self-esteem than comparing ourselves to those we see as having less.
So scrolling through Instagram, seeing everyone's highlight reels, that's like a recipe for self-doubt.
Pretty much.
No wonder we all struggle with this.
Yeah.
The book talks about limiting social media use.
Yeah.
But what are some more proactive steps we can take? How do we curate our feeds for positivity?
It starts with being mindful of who you follow.
Okay.
If certain accounts consistently make you feel inadequate
Right.
or trigger negative self-talk, unfollow them.
Let's get rid of them.
It's also wise to set boundaries around your scrolling time.
Oh.
Instead of mindlessly browsing throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
dedicate specific times for checking social media.
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, actively seek out accounts that inspire you, share positive messages, or focus on topics you genuinely find interesting.
That makes so much sense.
It does.
It's like taking control of your online environment instead of letting it control you.
Right.
So we've talked about how self-doubt often takes root.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those moments where it feels overwhelming?
Yeah.
Like it's holding us back from what we really want to do.
That's where the book's emphasis on facing fear comes in.
Right.
This might seem counterintuitive. We're talking about building confidence, right?
Right.
But the idea isn't to eliminate fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's to understand and leverage it.
This reminds me of something I read recently about the science of courage.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the absence of fear, it's
Right.
acting despite the fear.
Exactly. And the book uses a fantastic analogy to illustrate this point.
Okay.
Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff.
Hmm.
You're likely to feel some fear, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But that fear serves a purpose.
Okay.
It's there to protect you, to encourage caution.
Right? It doesn't mean you can't take that leap.
Right.
But you need to be smart about it.
Wow. I love that analogy.
A good one.
It makes it so much more tangible.
Yeah.
It's not about pretending fear doesn't exist.
Right.
It's about recognizing its presence and choosing to move forward anyway.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Growth rarely occurs within our comfort zones.
Okay.
Stepping outside of what's familiar will naturally trigger some fear,
Right.
but that's a sign that we're pushing our boundaries and expanding our potential.
Okay, so how do we apply this to everyday life? Let's say someone's terrified of public speaking.
Well, instead of diving headfirst into a presentation in front of hundreds of people, they could start by practicing in front of a small group of friends or family.
Okay.
Each successful small step helps to build confidence
Right.
and diminish the hold that fear has over us.
It's about those incremental steps building up to the bigger challenge. That's
Sure.
so much less daunting than trying to conquer everything at once.
For sure. So we've talked about origins and facing fear.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way we can fundamentally shift how we view our abilities?
Absolutely. The book dives into the crucial distinction
Right.
between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset.
Ooh, okay.
This concept, developed by psychologist Carol Dweck,
Mm-hmm.
has profound implications for how we approach challenges and setbacks.
Could you break that down for us? I remember hearing about growth mindset, but I'm not sure I fully grasped it.
In essence, a fixed mindset views our abilities as static and unchanging.
Okay.
Someone with this mindset might believe that they're either good at something or bad at it, and there's not much they can do to change that.
Right.
On the other hand, a growth mindset sees abilities as something we can develop through effort and learning.
Okay.
Challenges become opportunities for growth, and setbacks are seen as valuable feedback,
Right.
rather than proof of inherent limitation.
Okay. Now that's clicking for me.
Good.
Someone with a fixed mindset might say, I'm just not a math person. While someone with a growth mindset might say, I'm going to work hard to improve my math skills.
Exactly. And that subtle shift in perspective can make a world of difference.
Wow.
The book emphasizes the importance of reframing failure as feedback.
Okay.
Instead of viewing setbacks as signs of inadequacy,
Right.
we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience?
It's like turning those I can't statements
Yeah,
into how can I questions.
Exactly.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, I'll admit, even as we're talking about this, I'm realizing how often I fall into that fixed mindset trap.
We all do it.
It's so ingrained.
It is. The key is to become aware of those thought patterns.
Right.
And consciously choose a more empowering perspective. Remember, our brains are incredibly adaptable.
That's true.
With practice, we can rewire our thinking to be more supportive of our growth and success.
It's like we're building a mental muscle for confidence.
Exactly.
So we've explored the roots of self-doubt, the importance of facing our fears, and the power of cultivating a growth mindset. But knowing this stuff is only half the battle, right?
You've hit the nail on the head. The real magic happens
Yeah.
when we put this knowledge into action.
All right, so how do we bridge that gap? How do we move from understanding to doing?
That's what we'll be exploring in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we jumped into the mindset stuff, we were talking about how knowledge without action is like a car without an engine.
Right,
It looks nice, but it won't get you anywhere.
right. And this is where from self-doubt to self-belief really shines. It's not just theory. It gives you a practical framework for turning these insights into action steps.
Absolutely. It emphasizes the power of what they call the confidence cycle.
Ooh, okay. I love a good cycle. Yeah. Tell me more about this confidence cycle.
Essentially, it describes how action and confidence fuel each other. Even taking small steps builds confidence, which in turn empowers us to take more action. It's a beautiful upward spiral.
So it's like a positive feedback loop. The more you do, the more confident you become, which makes you want to do even more.
Exactly. And the best part, you don't need some massive life-altering action to get started. Consistent small steps can create huge momentum over time.
Okay, I'm all about those small wins. But how does this actually work in practice? Say someone is struggling with self-doubt around their writing. They dream of writing a novel, but they keep getting stuck. How could they apply this confidence cycle?
Instead of getting overwhelmed by the enormity of writing a whole novel, they could start with a smaller, more achievable goal, like committing to write for just 15 minutes each day. As they stick to this commitment, they'll start to see tangible progress. Maybe they'll finish a chapter. Maybe they'll simply have a collection of ideas. But that progress, no matter how small, will fuel their confidence.
And then that boost of confidence makes them want to keep writing. Right. I can see how this cycle starts to build momentum.
Precisely. What seemed like an insurmountable task, writing an entire novel, suddenly starts to feel within reach. It becomes less about tackling the entire mountain and more about taking those consistent steps forward.
So the key takeaway is don't wait for confidence to magically appear. Take action, even if it's small, and watch that action feed your belief in yourself.
I love that. It reminds me of saying fake it till you make it, but with real, tangible results. Now, the book also talks about the importance of mindset when it comes to action. It reminds us that setbacks are inevitable.
And how we interpret those setbacks is what matters. This is where the growth mindset we discussed earlier comes into play. It's about embracing the idea that failures are opportunities for learning, not indicators of our inherent worth.
It's about shifting from "I messed up" to "What can I learn from this?"
That's a powerful reframe. But honestly, it's easier said than done right. How do we actually do that in those moments when we stumble or fall short?
It starts with curiosity. Instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Maybe you need to adjust your approach. Seek out additional support or simply acknowledge that you're still learning. It's about progress, not perfection.
It's like turning those moments of self-doubt into opportunities for growth. The book also talks about celebrating small wins. Why is that so important?
It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and overlook the small victories along the way, but those small wins are like fuel for the confidence cycle. They reinforce our belief in ourselves and keep us motivated to keep going.
It's like giving yourself a pat on the back for every step forward. We all need that encouragement. What are some ways we can actually celebrate those small wins?
It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be as simple as writing down 3 things you accomplished each day, no matter how small they seem, or sharing a win with a friend or colleague. Acknowledge those moments of progress and allow yourself to feel good about them.
That reminds me of something I've been trying lately. Instead of just focusing on what I didn't get done, I take a few minutes each evening to reflect on what I did accomplish. It's amazing how that simple shift in focus can change my whole outlook.
That's a fantastic strategy, and it ties into the idea of being intentional with our social media consumption. Instead of comparing ourselves to others' highlight reels, we can use social media to share our own wins, inspire others, and create a more supportive online environment.
So it's about curating our online experience just like we curate our physical space, surrounding ourselves with things that uplift and inspire us. I love that. Okay, we've talked about mindset shifts, action steps, and celebrating wins. Is there anything else we need to keep in mind as we navigate this journey from self-doubt to self-belief?
The book emphasizes the crucial role of self-compassion. It's so easy to be our own harshest critics, especially when we're struggling with self-doubt. But self-compassion allows us to be kind and understanding with ourselves, even when we make mistakes or face challenges.
That makes so much sense. It's like giving ourselves the same grace and understanding we would offer to a close friend. Why is this so crucial, especially when we're trying to build self-belief?
Self-compassion creates a supportive inner environment where self-belief can flourish. Instead of beating ourselves up for our imperfections, we approach them with curiosity and a willingness to learn. We recognize that we are human, we all stumble, and that's okay.
It's like saying, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm still worthy of love and respect. That's such a powerful shift in perspective, and it actually reminds me of the book's discussion on positive affirmations.
Ah, yes. Affirmations are powerful tools for rewiring our subconscious mind and shifting our beliefs towards self-confidence and success. They're positive statements that help us challenge negative self-talk and replace it with more empowering thoughts.
I'll admit, I've always been a bit skeptical of affirmations. They
Yeah.
can feel a little cheesy, like standing in the mirror and telling myself I'm amazing. Does it really work that way?
It doesn't have to be that literal. The key is to find affirmations that resonate with you and feel authentic. It could be as simple as reminding yourself, I am capable of handling this, or I am worthy of pursuing my dreams. It's about consciously choosing thoughts that empower us, rather than letting the negative self-talk take over.
It's like intentionally planting seeds of self-belief in our minds. And the more we practice those affirmations, the more those seeds take root and grow, crowding out the weeds of self-doubt.
Precisely. It's about building a mental muscle for self-belief. And as with any muscle, the more we exercise it, the stronger it becomes. We've talked about the internal work of mindset shifts, affirmations, and self-compassion, but the book also highlights the importance of something external.
And what's that? Some magic confidence potion?
Not quite, although a confidence potion would be pretty cool. It's about the power of external support. Having a support system is crucial because it provides encouragement, accountability, and a sense of belonging. It could be a friend, a family member, a mentor, or even a therapist. The key is to surround yourself with people who believe in you and support your journey.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, reminding you of your strengths and encouraging you to keep going, even when things get tough.
Exactly. And those external voices can be incredibly powerful in counteracting the negative self-talk that can sometimes creep in.
It's like having a reality check when our inner critic starts to spiral out of control.
Mm.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from the roots of self-doubt to practical strategies for building unshakable confidence. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more important point that the book emphasizes, and it's this.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
The idea that confidence is not a destination, it's a journey. There's no magic finish line where we suddenly become immune to self-doubt. It's an ongoing process of learning, growing, and continually reinforcing our belief in ourselves.
That's such an important point to remember. Building confidence is a lifelong pursuit, not a one-time achievement. There will be ups and downs, moments of doubt, and times when we need to dig deep and remind ourselves of our worth. It's like any skill. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to keep showing up even when it feels challenging. But the rewards are so worth it. Because when we cultivate self-belief, we unlock the power to pursue our dreams, embrace our authentic selves, and live a life that feels truly fulfilling.
Beautifully said. And that's a powerful message to carry with us as we continue on this journey of self-discovery and growth.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what final thoughts and challenges can we leave our listeners with to help them put this wisdom into action? And we're back.
For the final part of our deep dive into From Self-Doubt to Self-Belief, it's been quite a journey already.
It has.
We've explored the origins of self-doubt,
Yeah.
dug into the power of mindset shifts, and learned how to turn insights into action.
Right. And through it all, we've highlighted the importance of self-compassion.
Yes.
Recognizing that building self-belief is an ongoing process,
Sure.
not a destination we reach overnight.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection.
But before we wrap up, I think it's important to remind ourselves,
Why we're even doing all of this? Why is cultivating self-belief so crucial?
because self-belief unlocks potential. It empowers us to pursue our passions, embrace challenges, and live a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. It's the foundation upon which we build our dreams.
Just like that saying, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Right.
But it's not just about positive thinking.
No,
It's about believing in our own capabilities, even when things get tough.
absolutely. It's about having the courage to step outside our comfort zones,
Yeah.
knowing that we have the resilience to navigate setbacks and learn from our mistakes. Self-belief allows us to show up as our best selves, even when faced with uncertainty.
So it's not just about feeling good.
Yeah.
It's about empowering ourselves to live a life
Yes.
that aligns with our values and aspirations.
Precisely. And, the book ends with a simple
Okay.
but incredibly powerful message
Okay.
that I think perfectly captures the essence of this entire journey.
Ooh, I love a good mic drop moment. What's the message?
You've got this.
Wow. You know, it sounds so simple, but there's something so profound about those three words.
I agree.
It's like a gentle reminder that we have the strength, the resilience, and the capability within us to overcome whatever challenges we face.
It's a message of empowerment, a belief in our own potential.
Yeah.
It's a recognition that we are not defined by our doubts, but by our willingness to keep growing and striving.
Like a permission slip to believe in ourselves.
It is.
And you know what? I think we all need that permission slip sometimes.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
we want to leave you with a challenge.
Right. Challenge accepted. What do we need to do?
Choose one thing, just one small step from everything we've discussed today,
Okay.
and put it into practice.
I like it.
Maybe it's unfollowing a social media account that consistently triggers negative comparisons.
Or maybe it's setting a timer for 15 minutes and working on that project you've been putting off because of fear or self-doubt.
Or it could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day to cultivate a more positive mindset.
The key is to take action, no matter how small it seems. Remember those small wins we talked about?
Yes,
They add up.
they do. And don't forget to lean on your support system. Share your wins.
Yeah.
Ask for help when you need it, and be kind to yourself throughout the process.
Because as we've learned today, you've got this.
Absolutely.
You've got this.
That's it for this deep dive into From Self-Doubt to Self-Belief.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found it insightful, empowering, and most importantly, actionable. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself.